this is it. Don't get scared now. Hey there, guys. Welcome back to a brand new Ask Me Anything live show. Is this technically a late night edition? I'd say 10 p.m. is not very late, so a moderately late in the evening live show just for you guys. It's been a few weeks. I sort of missed you a little bit. Just a little bit. Without making it too weird. But nevertheless, thanks for joining me once again. And we can talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. Movies, life, Zoa energy drinks, which I am slowly sipping on right now. Which does taste like The Rock's body sweat. I will just say that. It's salty, fruity, and yet delicious. And nurturing at the same time. All right, we got a first question here from Andrew Weezer. Did you hear about Jeremy Renner? I did hear about Hawkeye's battle with the snowmobile, and that is very unfortunate. I know he broke like 28 bones in his body, which sounds awful. And I think he's going to be okay. But yeah, that, no thank you. That is why I don't do sports. Or is riding a snowmobile considered a sport? I would say probably not. But I used to ride ATVs as a kid when I lived in the South. That's right. I used to live in the South as a child. And we had a four-wheeler, and I remember there was this big middle trailer out in this ginormous field. And it was me and a whole bunch of my friends. And for some odd reason, I was not paying attention. And I was headed right towards the big steel trailer in the middle of this field, being stupid. I was like 10 years old. And I looked at the last second, and I was able to slam on the brakes just enough to slow down, going probably like 10 miles per hour. And I hit my knee on the edge of this trailer. And I fractured my knee, and I had to wear a cast for like, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 months or something stupid like that. And that was a really awful experience in 5th grade. And that memory was just now unlocked. Huh. Yeah, but that sucked. That was sucked. Taking a bath with a trash bag on your leg so you don't get it wet. And then after it was all said and done, my favorite thing to do at night was play Cruisin' USA on the N64. That was a good time. But yeah, that was a weird phenomenon in life. But either way, I hope he makes a full recovery, and I've heard that he will. The last time I saw a post about it. The next one comes from Tanshik. Which cut of T2 and Aliens do you prefer, and why? Well, Aliens, I think I've only seen I wouldn't know what the difference between the director's cut and the theatrical cut is, to be honest with you. I've seen Aliens a few times, but I really can't recall which one I watched. I want to say the last time I saw it was the director's cut. Is the director's cut on the Blu-ray? Whatever's on the Blu-ray I saw from like 2012. So I couldn't give you a real definitive difference in answers there. But as far as T2 goes, the director's cut and the theatrical, there's things I like about James Cameron's director's cut. I like some of the continuation of the dream sequences. But at the same time, I feel like the theatrical is just a tighter movie that keeps the pace and momentum going a little bit more. And I feel like some of the director's cut scenes, which really is just Sarah Connor scenes of her imagining and dreaming about the apocalypse. And there's also the scene with her where they had her twin sister come in to do this 360 shot where they're pulling out the CP chip in Arnold's brain. Either way, I know it was a really complicated shot that didn't make the theatrical cut. But I almost would say I, in a way, prefer the theatrical cut of T2. I would say maybe I do. So, yeah, there you go. The next one comes from Carter Lovejoy. Have you seen The Last of Us HBO yet? So far, it's amazing. Probably the best video game adaptation we have. You hold your tongue, sir. Mortal Kombat 1995 still exists, and it has a special place in my heart. With all that said, The Last of Us is phenomenal. I really enjoy it, and it's nice to have a quality, slow burn series to look forward to once a week, because don't get me wrong, I love when you can binge watch 8 episodes of a great show in one sitting, but then you get that instantaneous feeling of emptiness and neglect as soon as it's over, and you go, what do I do with my life? I don't know. So with The Last of Us airing once a week, you kind of get to savor that flavor. You get to let it resonate and you have a discussion about it. And it gives you something to look forward to every week. And it breaks up that monotony known as life, which is a miserable, cold wasteland. But either way, yeah, I really dig The Last of Us. I liked episode 3 with Bill. And I was not expecting it because I didn't really play. I played the games maybe 2 hours in totality in my life. And the Bill thing, I was like, oh, that's cool. I didn't think it was going to go there. And then it went there, and then it kept it there. And I was like, that's really neat. And my only disappointment was it's sort of a one-off episode, not to spoil anything. But I really did enjoy that. My question is, how did more people not try to attack them over the course of 20 years in their little homestead with only like chicken fence surrounding it? It just seems like someone else could have gotten in there over the course of 2 decades. Just saying. But no, I really do enjoy it, man. It's great. Pedro Pascal is phenomenal. At first, the girl who plays Ellie, I always forget her name, who was in Game of Thrones. It took me a few episodes to like buy into her character and her attitude, because sometimes when she's like cussing every 5 seconds, I get that she's supposed to feel like an edgy, rebellious teenage girl, but sometimes it feels forced, a little bit forced. So it took me a couple episodes to let that kind of like acclimate. But no, I love it, man. It's good stuff. By the way, guys, the new episode of The Last of Us will be this Friday, not Sunday, due to the Super Bowl. So, hey, Friday, check it out. And the next one comes from Chad Hagen. I appreciate streaming, but I enjoy theaters. In your opinion, how do theaters stay relevant and stay in business? That is a phenomenal question, Chad. And just recently, AMC came out with a statement saying they're going to start charging more for premium seats in each auditorium. So, for example, if you want to sit in the neckbreaker seats in the front of the screen where you look up, and by the end of it, you dislodge your spinal cord, those are cheaper seats. But if you want to sit in the nice premium seats right in the middle of the auditorium, that seat costs more. That's AMC's solution to their dropping stock price, I guess. To me, that is a terrible business strategy, and one that's probably not going to work out too well in the long run. Now, I can see some hardcore movie enthusiasts, like myself, opting for the premium seat, because if I'm going to an auditorium, I'm driving there, I'm buying the overpriced tickets and the overpriced snacks. That's a lie. I sneak shit in. But I do buy drinks typically at the movie theater, because if you sneak in a soda, it gets warm by the time the movie starts 35 minutes later. But the point is, I'm going to get the best seat I can get, and if it costs $2 more, I'm going to do it. Now, does that anger me deep down inside that I have to pay $2 more simply because I want to sit in this seat and not this one over here? Absolutely. That goes against my instinct as a movie theater enthusiast, which I have been my entire life, but slowly but surely, the theater industry is killing themselves. They keep coming up with these half-baked ideas to get a few extra shekels, money, but they're all terrible. And if only they could use common sense and logic and say, you know what? People who leave their house and come to the theater want to have a good experience. What if, and call me crazy, what if we just gave them a clean auditorium, a great presentation of a film that was in focus with great surround sound that doesn't sound blown out with shitty speakers, and when they sit down in their seats, they're actually cleaned. They're not soaked in body oil and filth and used up popcorn butter that's been there for 15 years. No. What if we got a nice auditorium, a nice presentation of the movie, and hear me out, this is the craziest idea. What if you had one of those kids that work at the movie theater who make minimum wage, right? Occasionally come into the auditorium, maybe like 4 times during a movie, stand there for about 2 minutes, make sure no one's texting on their phone or talking, and you can have an enjoyable experience in the theater. And if someone is texting or talking on their phone or disrupting it in any possible way, they get removed from the theater. And also, these same people could look up at the screen and make sure it's in focus, because I can't tell you how many times over the last 5 years of my life, I mean, going back further than that, that the presentation of the film was unspeakably bad. There was no excuse for it. I remember even recently seeing Jurassic World Dominion, and the bulb that they were using in the projector was so old that it was making every bright scene in the film flicker because the bulb could not simply keep up with the lumens that it was trying to project on the screen. Not only that, there's been probably, I would say 90% of the time I go to the auditorium, I have a panic attack, just hoping the film is going to be good and the people that come to watch it with me aren't annoying assholes, because they're not updating. Like AMC's, unless you have one of their main locations in like Los Angeles or New York or Atlanta or wherever, they keep up with those auditoriums and those theaters. They make sure they're clean and up to date, and they actually maintenance them. But my local AMC down the street, oh, it's a shithole. It's falling apart. Nothing has been maintained or upgraded in probably 15 years there. The last time I went there, which I told myself it would be the last time I went there, I saw the film Barbarian. 2 of the restrooms were closed because I'm sure they just didn't want to fix them or clean them. Who knows? So they had caution tape, so you had to walk all the way to the other side of the theater, which takes a few minutes to get to, and then you come back, and by that point you miss 8 minutes of your movie. But even though the one open restroom that they had, half of the wall was torn off, there was water damage to it, 2 of the urinals had caution tape over them. So if you can't even clean your fucking bathroom, do you think I'm going to pay you $14.95 for a bucket of popcorn that's stale? No, thank you. So my point being, start there. If you want people to come to the theater and you want to make a profit, start there. Stop trying to nickel and dime people who are willing to already come to the theater, who already support you, because we are a dying breed. Most people want to stay at home and watch Netflix and not go to the theater. How about you incentivize the people who still are willing to come and give them a great experience? But now you're just trying to milk them for everything they have. So fuck that. Fuck AMC. Fuck that policy. It's terrible. It's a cash grab. And in my opinion, that is why theaters are dying. They are slowly dying out. So I hate it. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. The theater experience used to be this magical escape from reality. And now it's like going to watch a crappy presentation of a movie in a crack shack. It's like I have an 83-inch 4K OLED TV with leather reclining seats. I have a popcorn machine that makes far better popcorn than at the movie theater. I'm just putting it out there, and it doesn't cost $83. And I can pause the movie anytime I want to get up and take a crap or go pee. You know, so why would I leave that to go to a theater to sit in a piss-stained seat with a shitty presentation of a flickering bulb and a blown-out speaker beside my head? No, thank you. And you think I'm going to pay you more money to sit in the seat I want to sit in? That sounds crazy. So I hope that answered your question. And let's go to the next one. Parzival has become a member. Yay! Thank you, Parzival. All right. The next one comes from Max Neugenbauer. Plane was an enjoyable Gerard Butler movie. You know what? So I have a buddy, and I go over to his house, and we have movie nights together. And we watched Plane. We started it. And 15 minutes into it, I was like, this movie's just, I can already sense that it didn't quite have the budget it needed. And they're dragging every minute thing out to the point of exhaustion. And I don't care about anyone in this film. So I'm glad you liked it. I sort of just looked at it and thought this could have come out in 2004 and went straight to DVD. That's what the movie felt like to me. I know some people say it's fun and it's an action movie or whatever, but it just felt like the most watered down thing that's ever existed. And I feel like they could have done, like, if you don't have the budget for a film, then get super creative and don't just make a cliche 2004 action movie, you know, that feels like the movie of the week. Do something that stands out, right? Give it a different style or tone or a different score. I don't know. Make it set in the 1980s and have a synthwave score to it to back it up. Just anything that can differentiate it from every other modern day forgettable action movie. So really, I thought it was instantly forgettable, and I thought it was going to be fun, but yeah, no thanks. But I will say this: I watched the entire series. It's on Paramount Plus. It's called The Offer, and it stars Miles Teller, and it's about the making of The Godfather. It's about the producer behind the movie, and that's a pretty good time. If you like movies, I think you will enjoy it. It does get a little bit cliche and stereotypical and Hollywoodized to some degree to sort of encapsulate some of the events and condense them down. It feels like been there, done that, but some of the tidbits of the making of the Godfather film and how it came to fruition and how, like, for example, they did not want Al Pacino to be in that movie. They hated him. They didn't want him there. They were like, he's too short. And like, that was really enjoyable to watch. And the casting's great. So go check that out on Paramount Plus if you want a new series to watch. Highly recommend it. Fast X trailer is up. Let's go. The Fast X trailer is out? Wow. Well, I'll never watch that. You know what? I'll tell you what. I might watch it during this live stream. If it's out, I might watch it. Why not? If you want me to watch the Fast X trailer, give this stupid video a like, and I'll watch that piece of shit. Absolutely. I want to watch Vin Diesel's bloated head. He looks like Mr. Potato Head, but with more muscle definition. I need to... Actually, you know what? Just saying that makes me want to watch the trailer. So yes, maybe I will watch it. The next one comes from a Nintendo Game Dude. Thoughts on Fort Wayne, Indiana might move there. Oh, really? From where? Where from? Fort Wayne is a good mid-sized city. It has just about everything you need. It's calm. It's peaceful. It's affordable, and it's easy to get around. And it's actually a really good city. If you guys have been watching me for the last decade, you guys know I have moved to a lot of different places, a lot of different cities, states, and I like to say I have a pretty good grasp on things that I like and dislike. And overall, to be honest with you, when it comes to just a relaxing city to live in, I like Fort Wayne. I really do. Do I wish I had a few bigger things? Yes. Do I hate the fact that I have to drive to a bigger city to see screenings of movies? Yeah, but the good thing about Fort Wayne is its geographical location. Besides the fact that it's flat and we have winter, which sucks, we're only 2 hours away from Indianapolis. We're 2.5 hours away from Columbus. We're 2.5 hours away from Chicago. And if you want to go to Detroit for whatever reason, I'm not quite sure why you would, we're like 2.5 hours away from that. So we're right in the epicenter of all these major metropolises. So it's a nice, relaxing place. And if you want to get away to a bigger city, you can do it in a few hours and then come back to the comfort and sanctity of Fort Wayne, Indiana. Really, I'm a simple guy. You give me a movie theater, you give me a Walmart, you give me a Best Buy, you give me a Chipotle, a Pizza Hut, and a few other places, I'm somewhat content. So, I like it. No complaints. Jason Nelson says, hey, John, what is the best miniseries ever? Chernobyl? I'm glad you mentioned Chernobyl, because if I had to think of one off the top of my head, I would probably lean towards Chernobyl. Or like The Offer, like I just mentioned, was pretty good, but Chernobyl is far superior. Yeah, you know what? In the last 5 years, I'd say Chernobyl is probably my favorite limited series. I know there's probably something else I'm not thinking of. I remember like a few years ago, they had the OJ series, which was interesting, but Chernobyl is definitely the most cinematic and interesting one to me. So yeah, I would go with Chernobyl as well. Azim the Dream Reviews, how's it going? Hey, John. Don't think about it. Top 5 Batman movies. Go! Well, I'm not going to think about it, but I'm going to go. I'm going to say The Dark Knight. I'm going to say Batman Begins. I'm going to say The Batman. Then I'm going to say Dark Knight Rises. Then I'm going to say Batman Returns. Then Batman 89. Then I'm going to just forget that the Joel Schumacher Batman movies exist. VCC says, do you like Prey, and are you excited for new Alien film? Prey, I wanted to like it more. I actually thought I would like Prey more than I did. But watching it, The thing that makes the original Predator great to me is you have these over-the-top, charismatic characters, and there's a variety of dudes in this movie, right? There's a variety of characters. And you get a sense of immersiveness with it, right? In Prey, it felt like they were doing that standard Hollywoodized thing where the main character, who is a female Native American, anything that she's incapable of, someone else pays the price for her inabilities, but then she immediately learns from them and then escapes the situation onto the next thing. And it gets to a point of, it's almost exhausting to watch because it's like, she hasn't earned the right to survive by the end of this film. She got other people killed, yes, but now she's the last remaining survivor. And I'm just like, and really, I didn't care about anyone in the movie. Like, I was like, I didn't really get a sense of who people were. I didn't really care. I think it looked nice for the budget that they had. I think there was a lot of things they could have done with it. So yeah, I watched it once. I don't think I would go back and rewatch it again. It just sort of had a cruise control script to me. And I know people loved it because they like to see the Predator come out and fight people. Like, sometimes that's enough for people to enjoy a movie. But for me, I wanted more, like, I didn't expect it to be better than the original Predator film at all. Not even close. But get me close to, push it a little bit, push the needle that way a little bit. And I didn't feel like it did. I mean, yeah, I would say the second Predator movie is more. I don't think the second Predator film with Danny Glover is a good movie. I think it's an okay, enjoyable rainy day movie. But the thing is, when you're watching it, at least people have charisma and they're going for it. And you're like, oh, this is entertaining. It's not the best thing, but at least it's entertaining. It doesn't feel like this desaturated, just substandard script to appease everyone. Am I going too deep with Prey? It's a fucking Predator movie. The next one comes from, gosh, you guys, I need to go quicker here. I'm going too slow. All right. George says, John, are you excited for Scream 6? Personally, I think the trailers and marketing have been great. I am excited for Scream 6. And keep in mind, I wasn't a big fan of the last Scream film. Don't even get me started. I've stated my opinions there. This is the point in this franchise where they better blow our hair back with who the killers are. And I'm hoping in the previous film, there was someone else in the Ghostface outfit that they did not give us insight to. There's still something more to come with that. That would make sense for the previous movie because there's just sequences and things that happen in that film that I think are major plot holes. But if somehow they have answers for that in the next one, I'll be like, okay, I can forgive that. But with the new Scream movie, the thing that gets me most excited for is it takes place in a city. It's a city environment. I think that's just a nice different setting to make it fresh and new and fun. There's things you can do. You can have skyscrapers and elevators and subways and just different places. Different sequences can happen. And call me crazy. I sort of have a guilty pleasure love. It's already getting weird. I have a guilty pleasure enjoyment from the film Jason Takes Manhattan. Now that's an abomination and an atrocity, right? It's a piece of shit movie because really 90% of the movie takes place on a little boat and the last 10% of it takes place in Manhattan, which actually was filmed in Toronto, Canada. Either way though, when Jason is walking the streets of New York City, it's just entertaining to see. When he kicks over the boombox or he punches the guy's head off and it rolls into a trash can. Those are things of beauty to me. And I'm hoping Scream 6 gives us a little bit of that. Just push those limits that direction for me. Pazival says, John, what are you doing getting off MSTG? How are you? What's MSTG? I'm sorry. The abbreviations go over my head. The older you get, the less you understand the abbreviations of things. Spell it out. Talk to me like I'm stupid. I don't know what MSTG is. I'm sorry. But I'm doing pretty good, man. James Dozier says, "Hey, John, how's it going? Not too bad. Just been busy focusing on other things. And I've come to the conclusion, for me, once I get hyper-focused on something else, everything else starts slacking over here. But like what I'm focused on will get done. So I've been focused on a whole bunch of other things. And unfortunately, the videos took a backseat. But now those things I was hyper-focused on and a little bit stressed about have subsided. And now I can get back to the YouTube stuff. That's the thing. You know, when you mix your hobby with your job, it's sort of like a weird fine line that you have to walk sometimes. Because I love movies. I love the escapism. I like talking about them. But then sometimes it takes away from the enjoyment of just watching them when you know you have to talk about them and be analytical and break them down. And then it's just like... So anyway, to get back to the question, I'm doing pretty good. Doing better than I was. How are you guys doing? How you guys been? What's new with you? Let me know. Mike Snow says, I'm sick of Scream movies. Yeah, I was getting that way. Unless Stu comes fucking back as the killer, or they show him in prison or an insane asylum or something where he's incarcerated and somehow pulling the strings or anything. At this point, it's just like, okay, so you just have random teenagers throwing their lives away to kill people because... Oh, one of them's a 5'2" little girl, but in this scene where she was actually Ghostface, she was 6'4" and killed David Arquette's character instantaneously like she was a 300-pound bodybuilder. How did that happen? I don't know, because the script said so. It's a lackluster movie. It's a franchise that I've slowly fallen out of love with. And really, for me, the best Scream film is still the best one. Cinematically speaking, as far as the screenplay goes, the acting... I just don't feel like it's been topped or even close. And the newest one kind of felt like an MTV TV show to me. I'm just putting it out there. I know some people love that shitty camera work and terrible screenplay, but for me, just putting the Ghostface mask on someone and doing shitty sequences of stabbing them, it's not enough for me anymore. I need substance. I need violence. I need blood, but most importantly, I need it to make sense, okay? Why did I have to hold my boobs as I said that? I don't know. It was comforting. All right, let's go to the next one. By the way, do you guys know every time I talk shit about Scream, people get mad and unsub? It's a crazy thing. All right, the next one comes from Baron. Would you watch a Tarantino written and directed miniseries about Rick Dalton and Cliff Booth hanging out together? I would. I would watch a 17-hour movie about just those two hanging out watching TV together. Yes, please, give it to me now. I know Tarantino is working on a series. I don't know much else about it. There's not been many details released about it. But yeah, I'll watch anything Tarantino makes nowadays, man. He's one of my favorite directors right now working. You know why? He's not afraid to say what he wants. I can respect that. Good or bad, like I'll enjoy it. Sydney needs a break. No, Sydney needed some more money. That's why she opted out of this new Scream movie. Yeah, I who knows? Maybe it's all. It would be funny if this was all false and it was just they did the best cover up ever, and she actually is in the movie. But yeah, I guess they just didn't want to pay her what she wanted. But the thing is, most new Scream fans don't care if she's in it. You know, the legacy fans of the franchise do, but I feel like most kids nowadays just want to see Ghostface stabbing people. Whatever he wants to do, he can stab them. Just put a mask on and call someone. The next one comes from MKF30. Hey, John, would you watch Megan versus a Chucky movie? No, probably not. Sure, I guess I would. But Megan seems more capable than Chucky does. Like, she's taller, she's a cyborg, so she has, like, more strength. But Chucky, though, I feel like he's more clever when it comes to murdering. I feel like he's got a little more wit to him. You want to play hide the soul? Absolutely. The next one comes. See, I would be like the little kid who gets a Chucky for Christmas. But for some reason, that relationship, I know he's a murdering psychopath, tormented soul of a serial killer and trapped in this little plastic doll. But for some reason, I'd get along with him very well. Like, we would work well together. He's like, I'm going to go kill him, Johnny. I'm like, listen, man, that's cool. Can you bring me a Mountain Dew on your way back as I play some video games or something? That's cool by me, man. You want me to say you were here the whole night? I will do it. Whatever you want. I would get along with that. As a kid, I needed friends. So if I had a murdering psychopath little doll who happened to come to life and talk to me and wanted to murder people, that's okay. Like, listen, who am I to judge, right? So I think that'd be a very symbiotic relationship. Just putting it out there. The next one comes from your name here. Fort Wayne was great. Fond memories at New Haven Pool. I don't think I went to New Haven Pool. I saw some of the people that were swimming there, and I was like, nah, I'm not sharing bath water with these people. No, thank you. I don't want gout. So no, I don't think I ever went to the New Haven Pool. Azim the Dream Review says, Johnny, I recently replayed Batman Arkham Asylum, and the entire game has a horror aesthetic to it. Yes, it does. Can you imagine seeing Killer Croc in a Batman sequels or no? I think it'd make for a cool horror bat flick. By the way, I never said thank you. Love you. Well, you'll never have to. Yeah, if they want to push the limits of a more fantastical Batman and go the darker route, I think they could do it. It's just they're going to have to get done with the Robert Pattinson-esque Batman and get back to it. Now, DC, or James Gunn, last week announced that there is a Batman, Brave and the Bold, where they're going to introduce Damian Wayne, who's Batman's son. And that sounds really cool. And I think they're going to go probably a more fantastical approach with that. So anything's possible now in a couple years once they get to that movie, which I'm really looking forward to. And I like that they're sort of keeping the Pattinson movie, like they're at least going to do another sequel, maybe a third one. And they're also going to have like the bigger, more fantastical, epic version of Batman where it's not as grounded and subdued. I like that we're getting both. And I always thought there was room for both of them. I could keep talking about that, but we'll just go to the next question. Lucas Griffin says, did you see Fallout on HBO Max? It was my favorite of 2022. Fallout on HBO Max? I did not. I did not watch Fallout on HBO Max. No, I did not. Am I thinking of the same thing, or are we thinking of I feel like I'm thinking of something else. Oh, this. Okay. No, I didn't watch this. Is it bolstered by friendships forged under sudden and tragic circumstances, high school student Veda begins to reinvent herself while reevaluating her relationships. Okay. Yeah, it looks interesting. I could maybe watch that. 93% on Rotten Tomatoes. Yeah, I'll look into it, man. I'm always looking for a good show to watch. The next one comes from Carter Lovejoy. Looking for a 4K Blu-ray for my sister since she got a 4K TV not too long ago. What 4K player do you currently have and recommend? I have a Panasonic cheap 4K player. It was like $100. Now it costs like $130 or $40. I think it's missing. So the thing about 4K players is there's proprietary technology that they like HDR10, HDR10 plus, blah, 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 right? It's just this shit that they can put names on so they can market it and get money for it and charge people to use it. So anyway, my player is missing like one of the HDR10 somethings. You'll never know the difference if you watch it. I promise you that. So I have a Panasonic player. I'd probably recommend that. If you want to spend a few $100s and get a really good Panasonic player, that's my recommendation. The last time I used my Samsung 4K player, which might have been 2 years ago, and it's in my other living room. I needed to update it because I remember going to use it and the Gladiator 4K disc would not play in it. So I think I needed to update the player or something, and I never did. So go with Panasonic for sure. James Dozier says, what part of Con Air do you enjoy the most? Everything with Cyrus the Virus, John Malkovich. Or I really enjoy Steve Buscemi in the movie, especially when he gets out of the back of the bus. And he has like a face mask on. And he has like 10 guards around him. That's a pretty great sequence. But really, it's just everything about that film is pure entertainment and imagination. Nick Cage has a beautiful mullet. You can't take your eyes off of it. So yeah, I would say, what don't I enjoy about Con Air would be the question. Akai Nai, hey, how's it going? Hey, John, what are your thoughts of Avatar being number 4, possible number 3 in the box office? James Cameron proved me wrong. Oh, I knew Avatar would make some money, man. People just want escapism, right? You give them something fun to look at that's entertaining enough. It doesn't need to resonate into our souls for the rest of eternity. Is Avatar 2 going to live on to be a classic? Absolutely not. It really will not. I think the first Avatar will be remembered more distinctly than the sequel will. I truly believe that. I think Avatar 2 by next year will sort of be forgotten. And then we'll get the new one and people will still go to see that because we just want to go back to Pandora. These stories aren't blowing us away, right? They're not resonating into our souls. They're like great classic films do. But with all that said, I still really, really enjoyed Avatar 2. So it's sort of a weird thing, right? It's like this isn't going to live on to be like T2 or Aliens or even have the pulp culture resonance of like something like Titanic, for example. But it's still going to make a shit ton of cash. It just instantly flickers out. It's like, that's what most movies are doing nowadays. That is how the industry is working. You have the biggest movie of all time, a $300 million blockbuster movie. Even if it has name recognition and a huge IP backing it, it's like it comes out. It's really popular for 2 weeks. People talk about it for like a week or two, and then it instantly is forgotten. It's like, that's the society that we live in. We're just so bombarded with content consistently, to the point where if you go see something good or something great, it immediately gets washed away by 8,000 other new things coming out. And then you scroll on TikTok and it's just whatever the next new thing is instantly takes its place, which sort of makes me sad. But either way, I hope I answered the question. All right, the next one comes from Chad Hagen. John, who will be the next 007? Couldn't tell you. There was rumors of what's his face, Kick-Ass Aaron. What's his name? Aaron. Is his name Aaron? Aaron Johnson. There was rumors that he was auditioning for it or doing screen test or in discussion to do it, which I could see him playing maybe a younger Bond. I mean, he has the look and the build, and he's got the accent. I could be okay with that. For me, I feel like at one point, maybe like 5 years ago, Tom Hardy maybe could have done it, but then again, I like me some Tom Hardy, but I don't know if his acting style would work well for 007 or James Bond. I think he could do it in a unique way, but I think Aaron Johnson actually is a really interesting choice. So maybe him. The next one comes from Tony. I just watched Hateful Eight. Jennifer Jason Leigh's performance as Daisy Domergue is fantastic. She is maniacal and insane, and she gets beaten up the most. Thoughts on her performance? Phenomenal. When she's just sitting there with like a bloody face the entire time, or puking up blood on people, or getting blood puked on her, or what have you, or playing the guitar, oh, that's a great performance. I remember one time, I don't know if it was I remember Jennifer Lawrence was originally going to be in that role, and for some reason she couldn't, and I'm so glad. That would have ruined the movie for me. But no, she's stand out of the movie. The next one comes from Magma Liquor. That's a great name. Have you had your yearly dose of Nick Cage films yet, John? Can't wait for Dracula. What about you? Give it to me now. I wish I could take Dracula, put it into a syringe, and put it right here. That's where I want it. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. Can't go wrong with the Cage. I feel like I almost watched Face Off the other night. I almost did it. But I watched something else instead. But yeah, maybe I'll do that after this live show. James Dozier says, if you were a Terminator, where would I go get my clothes? That is a great question, because that's something that no one talks about. The Terminators, where they go to obtain their clothes. Most times they just find someone nearby and take it. Like in the first movie, you had John or Kyle Reese. He takes some homeless guy's pants and starts running around. No, thank you. I would rather run naked than put the homeless guy's pants on. They're all crusted with crap and urine. No, thank you. And then you have like T2. Arnold goes into a biker bar, steals some guy's leather pants, and you know those things stink because leather does not breathe. My question is, did he steal his underwear as well? I would hope not, but at the same time, you almost need it. So these are all like really good questions you're asking. And for me, where would I go? I don't know. The T-1000 had it right. At least the police uniform, is probably like washed and pressed that day, and like hygiene came into play there. But for me, I would probably just walk into like a local Target or an Old Navy and like take the clothes there. I would just walk naked to Old Navy and take the clothes. And then I would leave. Yeah, that's what I would do. Would I be the most threatening looking Terminator? No, I'd be wearing jeans with a polo or something, I don't know, and flip-flops. That's what I would be wearing. So that's where I would go for my clothes if, in fact, I was a Terminator. That was the greatest question of the night. Thank you for that. I'm glad you brought that up because I really did want to talk about that because we did just watch the first Terminator the other night. My girlfriend had not seen it, and I had to show it to her. Stephanie Myers, how's it going? Hey, John. Hope you are well. Are you excited for John Wick 4, or are you all wicked out? Thanks. I'm a little wicked out, not going to lie to you. I know the cool thing to say to appease people is say, I love Keanu Reeves and everything that he does, and whenever he's fighting people, I love it even more. And that's true, typically. But with the last John Wick film, I felt like they were trying to go too many directions with the lore of that universe, and I don't really give a shit about anyone else in that universe other than John Wick and his dog. So when they try to like introduce Halle Berry in the desert and more backstory on the hotel, it's just like, yeah, I'm good. I'm kind of good here. Like, I don't need that. Can we simplify it? Can we go back to what made this franchise good? So I'm hoping the next one is awesome. Don't get me wrong. I like to see the fight sequences and stuff. But I'm hoping the next one's better than the previous one because 3 was like, I was like, yeah, I'm kind of done with this. I know some people enjoyed the knife fight, which was really cool, but keep in mind that was 2 minutes of a 2-hour movie. The next one comes from Joey Ward. How's it going, Joey? No question, man, but thanks nevertheless, man. Make sure you type in your question there. VCC says, rank these 4: Black Widow, Eternals, Thor 4, Strange 2. I would probably say Strange 2 was the most watchable. I would say Black Widow, maybe the next one that was okay because I liked whatever David Harbour's, what was his name? Red Mother Russia, I don't remember his name. Russian Captain America. That's who he was. Russian Captain America. And then Thor 4 was really bad, but I could watch that again and again on repeat way before I would ever watch Eternals again. If I want to put myself into a coma, I'll put on Eternals. All right. The next one comes from Michael Entity. Deep Impact or Armageddon? You know what? So, fun story. I saw both those films in theaters as a kid back in 1998. And I appreciated them both for the obvious reason. Deep Impact is the thinking man's apocalyptic movie. Morgan Freeman is the president. My name is Morgan Freeman, and there's an asteroid coming. The waters will recede. It's a great movie. Elijah Wood's phenomenal in it. It feels like a realistic rendition of what would happen. But Armageddon is Michael Bay's wet dream of what would happen if a comet was going to collide with Earth. And I would say as a kid, I think I probably enjoyed Armageddon a little bit more. It just felt more, I don't want to say surreal, but it pushed everything to the limit that it could. You know, the music with Aerosmith. I don't want to miss a thing because if I miss you, I don't want to miss a thing. You know, that scene, you know, you had Ben Affleck in it. It had Bruce Willis. It had guys who drill for oil, somehow becoming astronauts and drilling on a giant rock flying through space. Thank you for that. The concept is utterly ridiculous, but I would say from an entertainment standpoint, Armageddon. Armageddon. I could watch Armageddon more than I could Deep Impact, but I like them both. The next one comes from Rob Kavanaugh. Thanks for the super chat. No question from Rob, but thanks, Rob. Christopher Butcher says, thanks for the stream, John. Have a good night. Well, thanks, man. No problem. Yeah, it's been, I had to make this tonight. I was sitting here and I was like, I could either sit here and look up things on Reddit that are useless, or I could make a stream. And I was like, I want to talk to the people. So thanks, man. Baron says, hey, John, what is your least favorite Coen Brothers film? They've made a few that I was not in love with. What was the newest one with Coen Brothers? They've had a handful of new ones come out that just did not hit well. Like Hail Caesar, that was hard to watch the first 35 minutes of. Inside Llewyn Davis, I saw once, I sort of forgot. They've made a handful of like forgettable films. You know, really it's easier for me to say my favorites, which are always going to be No Country for Old Men. Obviously, The Big Lebowski is my all-time favorite, and Fargo. I did enjoy True Grit. Lady Killers, I don't think I watched Lady Killers. Oh Brother, Where Art Thou is pretty good. I enjoyed that. But really, it's sort of like I love half their movies, and I don't really like the other half. Like, I love half, don't care about the other half. The next one comes from Jesus. Hey, how's it going, Jesus? Hey, John. Or he says, hey, have you ever had a bad trip from edibles? No, I have not. No. The only thing that edibles do is they make me really aware of my own consciousness and my own being. So what I do, the same way you guys hear me criticize movies and TV shows, I start doing that to myself sometimes. Like if you give me enough solitude, I will start criticizing myself the same way I'll criticize like a shitty movie. I'm like, wow, you kind of suck at this, and this. You're good at this, but also you could do this. But why don't you, like, it's just, I criticize myself like a movie when I have edibles. It opens up my brain, right? You get rid of this self-indulgence. You get rid of this defense mechanism that people keep up. It drops. And I see myself for who I really am. So if I was a movie, I would give myself 2.5 out of 5 stars. But I would say it has a lot of character development and charisma. The score's okay, but man, sometimes that screenplay, the pacing is really off. I'm just putting it out there. And the ending, to be determined, but gosh, I hope there's a twist. So yeah, that's I hope that answered the question. And there's some insight to my life. The next one comes from your name here. And by the way, guys, I'm about 10 minutes behind on the questions, so feel free to keep asking them. I'm going to get there, but I'm going to give you good answers along the way, or as good as I possibly can. The next one comes from Captain Russia. Yes, we'll call him Captain Russia. Your name here says, New Haven Pool must have been in its prime in the 90s. Also, good memories at putt-putt golf. Saw my first nipple via Starship Troopers in Fort Wayne. Good memories. Good times, man, for sure. Starship Troopers, if you're a young dude, man, that was the movie to watch. That and Titanic when you had sleepovers with your friends. If your grandparents didn't have Showtime that you could secretly watch. Either way, yes. Putt-putt is good. I haven't been to the putt-putt place here in like 10 years. I would like to go again. Sounds good. I want to go bowling, too. I like to go bowling. Joey Ward says, thoughts on Timothée Chalamet playing Willy Wonka? I do not give a fuck. Like, I just think I'm at a point in my life where I don't give a fuck about a prequel to Willy Wonka, especially Timothée Chalamet playing the character. Now, does that mean I'm not going to see the movie? I will see the movie. I love Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I think it's phenomenal. I think visually speaking or tonally speaking, it's my favorite musical of all time. You can't top what that movie gives you and how bizarre and off the cuff it is. But I just don't care. Like, why does he feel, why would he want to play like young Willy Wonka? I don't know. Maybe the screenplay is phenomenal. Maybe it is. But are they actually going to have Oompa Loompas in it? Or is that too politically incorrect? Is it wrong in today's society to have little orange people working for free as slaves in your chocolate factory, making chocolate? Is that wrong in today's society? I don't know. So if they have orange Oompa Loompas in it, I will support it. Hell, I might even get excited about it. But if they don't, I don't know how I feel about it. All right. Oh, no, man, you're a 4.5 star guy. I'll take the 4.5 stars. Thank you for that. I'll take it. All right, the next one comes from James Doshier. Do you enjoy Jackie Brown? You know what? I have went back probably 3 times over the last decade to watch Jackie Brown because I'm like, am I missing something here? Because I love me some Tarantino, but what is it about this film that I don't love? And I'll tell you. After the first act of Jackie Brown, it loses its way. Right? First act is fine. It's good. You're setting up the characters. You have Samuel L. Jackson. You have the character Jackie Brown. You have Michael Keaton introduced. But then after that, it's sort of just like... It gets messy and it loses focus. And Tarantino is a master of making sequences about nothing memorable. Like, he can do that. He can take a simple conversation, for example, about a Royale with cheese, right? And make it memorable. But something about the midsection of Jackie Brown, I don't remember much about it. I never do. No matter how many times I see it, I just like, my brain blanks out. So no, I've never been in love with Jackie Brown. All right, the next one comes from Andy Sanchez. Hello, John. Did you ever watch the show on Hulu, Wu-Tang Clan America Saga? I have not watched that, but I did watch Lego Master Season 3 on Hulu. I just thought everyone should know that, which was really bad, by the way. Like, that was the worst season of Lego Masters they've ever made. It just felt like the people on there were, like, never used Legos before, and they just found them at some street corner somewhere, and they said, you want to be on a TV show? And they said, yeah. I was like, wow, the builds really went down in quality on the 3rd season. Just putting it out there. The next one comes from Rob Kavanaugh. Hey, have you seen Kevin Hart's series True Story? I have seen Kevin Hart's... I did not see Kevin Hart's True Story. No, I did not. Didn't watch it. Is it good? Is it like a documentary? What's going on with it? Itchy Elbow says, keep in touch, peeps, from Collider Screen Junkies. Keep in touch with people from... I didn't really know many people from Collider, really. Screen Junkies... I mean, I follow a handful of people from Screen Junkies on Twitter. I'm sure if I reached out and said, hey, what's up, I'd get a response. You know, I messaged Dan Murrell a few times over the years, and a few others like John Roca, who he wasn't really a Screen Junkie per se, but when I hosted a show called Movie versus Movies for Screen Junkies, he was on it. So there was a handful of people I still kind of keep up with on social media and stuff. So yeah, I would say that's the extent of it. I'm not really good friends with anyone from Screen Junkies, but you know, I still follow them on Twitter and Instagram and stuff. That feels like it was 20 years ago, doesn't it? Doesn't it just feel like it was a lifetime ago? Upshot Music TV says, rewatch Master and Commander. Oh God, just saying that movie makes me want to go watch it. Anyway. Forgot how good the character/relationships were. Since you're a fan, you need to watch The Tear. It's only 10 episodes, dark, gritty, and Master Commander meets Game of Thrones. You won't regret it. It's called The Tear? The Tear. Okay. I'm going to trust you on this. It sounds vaguely familiar, but part of me thinks if it was really good, I would have heard about it more often. But that doesn't, hey, that could be wrong. I could be completely wrong there, right? Sometimes the popular opinion isn't the right one. So I'm going to write down The Tear TV series, and I'm going to watch at least the trailer, and I'm going to give it a chance one of these days. There you are. By the way, speaking of rewatching things, I recently watched Man of Steel. I know this doesn't relate to anything we're talking about, but I recently rewatched Man of Steel because my girlfriend had not seen it, and I forgot how just fucking epic that movie is. Watch the last 30 minutes of Man of Steel and tell me you don't get some kind of enjoyment from it. They're just like fighting each other and it's like brutal and over the top and it's like flying through the city and you feel like you're there. It doesn't feel like this glossy like green screen sequence, even though there's tons of effects, but man, it has like a visceral approach to it. I forgot how much I enjoyed it. It's not a perfect movie because it does have some blatant flaws, but man, looking at Henry Cavill in there, I was like, how could you guys not make one more movie with this guy? Anyway. The next one comes from Skywalker. How would you direct a Pigeon Lady origin story? Will you add a PTSD scene on why she doesn't take a shower? Oh, yes. Yes, my Pigeon Lady film would be the origin of the Pigeon Lady, how it comes to be, right? She slowly ascends into drugs and alcohol, losing her family, losing her friends. She kills her husband because he was violent and he was a woman beater, and she kills him out of self-defense. But the jury doesn't see it that way. So she does a little time. She gets out. She's living on the streets. She's trying to make her way. And how does she overcome this tragedy? Well, she befriends pigeons and she lets them shit on her as a self-sacrificial punishment for eternity for all of her wrongdoings in life. She now lives in shit and filth. That is the story of the Pigeon Lady. Until one day, a little blonde-haired, blue-eyed kid who's a little too smart for his own good and keeps getting lost for some odd reason befriends her, giving her 2 Christmas ornaments on a cold Christmas day, not inviting her into his penthouse suite to give her some presents and celebrate with her, maybe a nice hot cup of cocoa or some of his dad's cash that he has no problem spending, or maybe some of those delicious cookies that he has or ice cream in his suite that he enjoys. But no. He doesn't do any of those things for the Pigeon Lady. He gives her 2 Christmas ornaments. She doesn't even own a Christmas tree, Kevin, but now she has 2 Christmas ornaments. Maybe a bottle of hand sanitizer, I don't know, would have been more useful. So that's where the story of the Pigeon Lady goes. Now, if you want the tone of it, I would say it's sort of like a Darren Aronofsky film. I would say it's something like The Wrestler meets, I would just say it's sort of like The Wrestler. It's dark and gritty and violent, and it's about relationships. That's what my Pigeon Lady movie would be. There you go. All right. Let's go to the next one. And thank you for the question, Skywalker. A Torres says, who do you think would win in a fight? TW Crew or T-Lau? I don't know who these fucking people are, man. I don't know what these abbreviations are. Did you mean like Terry Crews and I don't know who are these people? I don't know. Someone said he actually gives her the turtle dove and keeps the other. Oh, great. That's even more useless. At least if I had 2 Christmas ornaments, she could pawn the other one for crack. The next one comes from Itchy Elbows. I also miss the era of movie YouTube 2013 to 2016. Oh, man, I miss 2013 to 2016. It was the golden age of YouTube. And now it's not so much that. You know, it just feels slightly disingenuous. Everyone's putting out content to make content. And it sort of feels like it's getting commercialized to a certain degree. I do miss that time period. That was a golden era. I do agree, man. Baron says, have you ever daunted when a movie is 3 hours, and is there any 3-hour films that are incredibly paced to you? Oh, there's many long films that are incredibly paced. I mean, what was the one that I watched the movie 13 Lives just this month or last month, and that was like 2 hours and 40 minutes long. And I just was on the edge of my seat the entire time. Like 2 hour and 40 minute films, if it's a good film, I think that's just enough to keep I want as many minutes of that runtime as I can get when it's a good movie, right? And that's when you know it's a good movie, when you forget it's 3 hours long. I'm trying to think. Let me look here. I'm looking at long movies here, and none of these are hitting the spot here. Top 10 movies that are over 3 hours long. Fucking Collider, man. Let's see. Yeah, I wouldn't put any of these in here. Like Forrest Gump's a long movie. Shawshank Redemption's a long movie. They're not 3 hours, but they're 2 hours and some change here. Yeah, I wouldn't say any of those would be in my list. I'm looking at long movies here because it's really hard to come up. That's my question for you guys. Since I'm looking, what are some of your favorite movies that have a long runtime? Like perfect movies that have long runtimes. Like you have a Casino in here. That's good. Lawrence of Arabia. That's good. That's good. Let's see. The Irishman. Long movie. Okay, but I wouldn't say it's up there. Once Upon a Time in America is a long ass movie. And it's definitely interesting to watch. I would say it's one of those films you should watch over the course of like 2 nights. The Godfather Part 2 is long. Schindler's List. Oh, Lord of the Rings, Return of the King. That's a long movie with 14 different endings. For me, sometimes the ending, the runtime of Lord of the Rings movies do add up. It gets to a point where it's like, okay, all right, let's go to the next thing here. I know some people love them though, so. What do we got here? The Dark Knight, yes. Avengers Endgame, yeah, that's a long movie, sure. That's a good one. Wolf of Wall Street, yeah, that is a long movie. I think that is paced well. The Batman is also a long movie. Good picks here. Scarface. Yeah, Scarface is good. I actually just watched Scarface like for the 20th time last month. I love it. Never gets old to me. Zack Snyder's Justice League. I wouldn't say the pacing in that is good at all. I really wouldn't. Babylon. No, we're talking about good movies that are 3 hours long. Is Apocalypto 3? I thought Apocalypto was like 2 hours, just over 2 hours. Yeah, they got the Dirty Dozen, Avatar in there. So yeah, there's some good ones in there. I know there's I'm trying to think of a few other movies that no one talks about that are long, and it's just like they're not coming to my brain right now. All right, the next one comes from Itchy Elbows. Will always hurt that we won't get Man of Steel 2. It hurts me deep down inside. What a waste. What a waste. Itchy Elbows also says, thoughts on the new Gunn DC slate. Some good things going on with the DC slate from Gunn. Some interesting things that I'm like curious about how that's actually going to work out. Like they have a couple IPs that no one's ever heard about and never talk about, but they're making movies out of it. I'm like, how's that going to work out? But the new Batman movie gets me excited. The new Superman movie gets me excited. But the thing I really think was the most interesting to me was they have an upcoming series about Green Lantern where it's sort of going to be like a buddy cop vibe, but also meets True Detective. So the fact that they're mentioning True Detective, and keep in mind, everything that they said, it's sort of like this or referenced it as a comparison, were all Warner Brothers properties. Like they already owned it. So you kind of have limitations on what you can compare this with because you're only going to pull from the Warner Brothers catalog of titles they already own. But anyway, the fact that they said it's going to be like True Detective, I'm hoping that means it's going to be like a little bit gritty and adult oriented to a certain degree. And there's going to be like a huge mystery to solve. Like that sounds cool to me. Watching Green Lanterns fly around and do crazy shit, but solving like a mystery that has like a grit to it. That doesn't feel like a child's comic book that's made for 8-year-olds. That really sounded appealing to me. But yeah, as far as everything else, I mean, what else? They said Supergirl movies or Superwoman, whatever, is going to eventually come out. And the thing I enjoyed about the Supergirl or Superwoman, whatever, we'll call her Super Lady. How's that? The thing that sounded really fascinating about that story compared to Superman was Supergirl was trapped on this segment of Krypton that exploded, but this small little portion of the planet was still intact, and it's like an apocalyptic wasteland. So she's filled with hate and resentment, and she grew up in this tough environment where she wasn't raised on the farm like a Boy Scout in Kansas like Superman was. So that backstory with her sound like from a jaded character standpoint sounds really intriguing to me. Like that sounds cool. So I liked some of the announcements. The thing that I don't have much faith in is James Gunn himself. I trust in James Gunn to allow other directors to give their movies their own flavor and style, unlike what Marvel does, where everything looks like a Marvel movie. So I like that he'll probably, because he is a creator and a director himself, he'll allow directors to put their own touches on these films, which I think that's the best thing we're going to get from James Gunn. But as far as like James Gunn's, I guess, stylistic choices and the way he writes movies, not always in love with, but that's okay because some of these movies aren't written by him. So I think that's cool. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I don't think it can get worse, but I will say this. Going into it, James Gunn in that announcement video basically all but said, yeah, the new Aquaman movie doesn't matter. The new Blue Beetle movie doesn't really fucking matter. Oh, and by the way, the new Flash movie doesn't really matter, but we're resetting the DC universe in that movie. So that tells me they went back in, did their reshoots for the new Flash movie, and somehow, some way just adjusted it to basically just undo everything that we've seen and start fresh. So yeah, so really the next few DC movies that were already slated to come out before James Gunn was introduced as the head of DC over there, it's sort of like bittersweet. It's like, oh, look, a new Aquaman movie, but it's sort of the last one and it doesn't matter. So to a certain degree, you can only get so excited because no matter what happens to that movie, it's not going to carry over into the future universe of DC. So I don't know. But then again, I'm okay with it. You know, if you have to scrap shit to start new, I think if that's the way they need to go, please go that direction. But that new Batman movie coming out, Batman, the Brave and the Bold, I believe is what it's called, that gets my juices flowing. I want to see that shit. All right, the next one comes from your name here. Wishing you and your girlfriend the best, brother. Well, thanks for that, man. Thank you. Yeah, doing good. No real complaints, just some issues, you know, just adulting, you know, life, maintaining your house, things break, it's expensive, it's tedious. You spend 18 hours on YouTube watching tutorials how to fix things, and it just never quite works out the way you want to. So you start screaming, and then you say, fuck it, and you go play Rocket League, and then that doesn't quite work out, and you get mad and almost want to break your controller. And then you take a energy drink, and you run around your yard at 3 o'clock in the morning as your neighbors call the cops, and they're like, why is he outside howling at the moon like a werewolf? And you have to explain yourself once they show up. So life's going pretty good other than that. The next one comes from Faisal H. Babylon was 3 hours with fast-paced editing style. Yeah, it was basically a movie about, it was like watching a movie on cocaine that refused to make a point, continued and continued to the point where you go, oh, this movie's been on for 2 hours. Is it almost over? Holy shit, it still has another hour of runtime left? That's what happens when you give people too much creative freedom. And Damien Chazelle, listen, Whiplash, that's a great film. La La Land, it was okay. But man, since then, he has not really made a movie I have enjoyed for like since, I would almost say Whiplash was like it almost felt like he was a one-hit wonder in a way. So I'm hoping he returns to form very soon. Josh Rivera says, I'm watching Young Rock, a little corny but enjoyable. I can't get into Young Rock. I'm sorry. Just some of the clips I see on YouTube where you have the wrestlers in the locker room, and it just looks like an SNL skit to me. It just looks so hokey. I'm like, I can't. This is the most like glamorized version ever. And then I remember watching a scene where they had Vince McMahon, and I'm like, that's nothing like Vince McMahon. Like, it's just the most family-friendly show that's ever existed. So I can't really get into it. Pazival says Tom Cruise was snubbed for Best Actor and Batman was snubbed for the Best Cinematography. I can see cinematography for Best Batman. Tom Cruise for Best Actor. Which movie are you referring to? I think Cruise, I think at this point, no. Brendan Fraser deserves Best Actor of the Year. That's my opinion. The next one comes from... By the way, if you guys are YouTube members, please chime in right now. I'd love to hear from you guys. The next one comes from First Man, that was so underrated. I wasn't a big fan of First Man. I really wasn't. I thought it glossed over the things that were interesting, that could have been interesting, and then focused too much on the things that weren't. I really didn't like the way the movie was shot either. John, PS2 or GameCube? I was more of a PS2 guy when I was a kid. Elias Jamza says, what's your favorite musical? Cheers from Finland. I would say overall my favorite musical is probably Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I really would. I'd be hard-pressed to pick another musical I enjoy more. I mean, for classical, nostalgia or appreciating it because it transcended through time, Wizard of Oz. But for me, I always enjoyed Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Gene Wilder in that film, man. Just, you couldn't top it. Guy from Kings Highway says, hitting a bong thinking about how Magic Mike is coming out this Friday. Let's just say I've been keenly anticipating it. Listen, I'm a dude. I like me Magic Mike. I like the first Magic Mike movie. The second one, not as good, but the first one was a pretty decent movie. You had Matthew McConaughey just chewing up the scenery. It was ridiculous. So I sort of enjoyed it. I thought it was interesting. Now, the new Magic Mike movie just really looks like it was made for middle-aged women. But does that mean I'm not going to go see it? I don't know. I have to take my girlfriend to see it because if I go see it by myself, people are going to look at me weird. And the other thing about the Magic Mike movies, it's such a double standard and I hate it. But when you go to I remember the first Magic Mike movie I went to, 99% women in the audience, right? And they were like, woohoo, when he got naked and like had baby oil and they're like, ooh, yeah. But like, if you went and saw like I don't know, I'm just whatever. I pick whatever movie you want. If it was 99% men in the audience going, oh yeah, baby, take it off. Like that would make headlines. I'm just putting it out there. Women get to be perverts, but men do not. It's just a social observation. Just putting it out there. Film Lover 134 says, John, do you think John Cho is super underrated? Yes. John, are you going to see 80 for Brady? No, I'm not. Life is too short. It's literally too short. Now, I did talk to someone who told me I didn't know what it was about. So it's about these old ladies who sneak in to see Tom Brady. Correct me if I'm wrong. That is the synopsis of this story, right? That they made a movie out of that. Why? That sounds like a Lifetime movie that should be on in like 3 o'clock in the afternoon that only my grandmother would watch. Oh, I like Selma Hayek. Don't get me wrong. All right. The next one comes from Josh. John, check out Sick on Peacock. It's during COVID, slasher, surprisingly good with some corny lines that will make you laugh. What's it called? Sick? Okay. Merly Jack No says, you'll need to take me to watch it. We'll get 1 ticket and you sit on my lap the whole time. The next one comes from Pazival. John, you're spitting facts. The double standard is crazy. I mean, yeah, that's pretty much society, though. It's all double standards. You just got to live with it or pretend like it doesn't bother you. I'm looking forward to David Fincher as the killer. You and me both, man. Give me any Fincher flick. I'll look forward to it. Girlfriend reveal? Follow me on Instagram. We got some pictures if you want to go see. Follow me on Instagram, man. Faisal H says, name 1 movie you're looking forward to in 2023. No sequels, prequels, remakes, or superheroes. I have not even conclusively thought about which movies are coming out in 2023. I really have not whatsoever. I'm going to keep it real with you. I was going to make a video about it, and I haven't got around to making the list to do it. That's the truth. I'm something that's not a sequel or a prequel. Isn't there a new Scorsese film coming out? Maybe that. But that's a video I want to make. I just have not looked at what's coming out this year. Lately in life, I've sort of just been taking movies as they come, right? Just, oh, here's that movie. Okay, let me focus on that. That's where I'm at right now. What makes you love Fincher? David Fincher? Well, I like his cinematography. I like how he's a perfectionist when it comes to films. He truly gives a shit about every shot in his film. So you know it's well thought out. It makes sense. It's there for a reason. He's meticulous when it comes to it. For example, in the film Zodiac, there's a scene where Jake Gyllenhaal just throws like a book in a car, like on a seat. They shot that sequence like 47 times to get it just right. He's a perfectionist. I like things like that. And most of his films, you feel like there's a love to it. You feel like he truly wanted to focus on it and do the best film he could do. So that's why I appreciate Fincher. I know I'm probably going to get a well-crafted film when I go to see his movies. And it's going to be made the way he wanted to make it. So that's a few reasons. Plus, he always has like this underlying uneasy. His films, tonally speaking, have this like thrilling uneasiness to them, right? Where things aren't quite right, but they're trying to figure it out. I like that suspense and that mystery. All right, the next one comes from guy from King's Highway. M. Night's air fryer cameo in Knock at the Cabin proves he is the next Hitchcock. I'm a fan of air fryers. Have one. Saw the movie twice in theaters. Absolutely. Listen, we have an air fryer, but I'll tell you what would make me buy another air fryer if M. Night Shyamalan told me to do it. Now listen, Knock at the Cabin door, or Knock at the Cabin. I enjoyed the first two acts of that movie immensely. And then I was hoping by the third act, now I know this is based on a novel, and I read how the novel originally ends, and oh my God, that would have been phenomenal. But it doesn't. It doesn't end that way. I was really disappointed by the third act, and it just felt like a half-baked, easy way out. And I was like, you guys had all these clever setups where you could have went this way, and this way, and this way, and this way, and you just, that's it. Oh, okay, well, that felt like you wasted a lot of time being clever then. So anyway, but Dave Bautista was really good in it. I can see Dave Bautista getting a lot of roles. Like, that was a great performance. The next one comes from Collie Wally. Hey, John, I'm very sorry to do this, but picture this. Batman and Robin, but all of Bane's lines are dubbed with Hank Hill's Bobby. God damn it, Bobby. That'd be fine. I think that would be an improvement over the performance we got with fucking Bane in the movie. Bomb. Thank you, Bane Tard. Thank you for that. What character development Joel Schumacher gave us. Thank you. Bomb. All right. The next one comes from Dane Ball. Hey, John. What's your take on Top Gun getting a Best Picture nomination? I feel like it was only nominated to get views because the Oscars are terrible now. Oh, absolutely. If you don't start nominating blockbuster films that everyone went to go see and have an interest in, that aren't necessarily highbrow cinema, to a certain degree, you're not going to get the masses in there to watch it. The ratings are dying. The only people watching the fucking Oscars are 80-year-old people or hardcore film enthusiasts, right? I don't watch them. I don't care. I really genuinely do not care. Tell me who the best picture is. Tell me the best actor. Cool. But I don't care. I just don't. And I feel like most people don't. We live in a society where outside of like a small demographic of people who love film and cinema and were hardcore movie nerds, most people just like consume movies like content. It's here today and gone tomorrow. So by the time you have an awards ceremony for these films, most of which aren't blockbusters by any means, you're sort of catering to like the smallest demographic of people who enjoy movies. So you gotta put some big names in there. You gotta have Tom Cruise. You gotta put the big blockbuster in there. It makes sense. You have to do that. So what was the question here? Oh yes, the Top Gun thing. Yeah, that's my take on. I don't watch the Oscars though. So, Elias Jamza says, which actor would you want to see work with Fincher? Shit, who hasn't worked with Fincher? I don't think Christian Bale's worked with Fincher, has he? Maybe Christian Bale? There's one. Faisal H says, well, what do you think of David Fincher's Mank? I Mink was an interesting concept, but I couldn't get into it. I tried. I really did. I tried really hard, and maybe that was a passion project for him, and I'm glad he got to make it. But at the same time, it's not what I was looking for. I know a few people liked it. I had a buddy who was really looking forward to it, and he was like, yeah, it wasn't quite what I needed. So I vaguely remember, to be honest with you. That was one of those Netflix movies I watched very late. Guy from Kings Highway says, do an impression of John Campier robbing someone in a dark hallway. Is that what you want from me? Is that really, is that what you need? Do you want that, or do you want me to watch the new Fast and Furious trailer? Which one do you want? Well, I don't know. Hey, come here for a second. Listen, take this with a grain of salt, okay? Okay, I need your money. I need your wallet. Now, listen, I'm going to be nice about this, okay? I'm from Canada. But hear me out for a second. Just hear me out for a second. Listen, you can't do that. I don't know. There you go. All right, let's go. Let's watch the Fast and Furious trailer here. Is it out? Fast X trailer? Is this a real... Is it out? Oh, God, it is out. Okay. Ugh. I'm going to watch this. Oh, shit. It's you. Okay, so here's the problem with this. I can't turn it up too loud, and I can't share my screen because this is is this Paramount or Universal? Either one. They always copyright claim my videos, and so it probably wouldn't work out too well because they have claimed every review of a Fast and Furious movie I've ever done. So, here we go. Oh, Vin Diesel in a car. Yeah, Universal. Yep, they'll probably claim this just for talking about it. Oh, a Paul Walker cutscene. All right. Really reusing the catalog visuals here. Definitely focusing on the nostalgia here. Oh, it's a legacy trailer. It's just old clips. What is this? Are these all legacy? These aren't even real trailers. These are just old clips. Oh, I don't care about this. The last thing I want to do is watch a montage from shitty old Fast and Furious movies. The only one that was good was the first one and the fifth one. Then again, I have a guilty pleasure love for Tokyo Drift. Just putting it out there. I don't care what anyone says. Yeah, the Fast X trailer, isn't it? It's a nostalgia. It's like it's nostalgia clips. It's a new trailer, but it's the legacy trailer. So who cares about that? Okay. Anyway, I could probably just make up what the trailer. It's Vin Diesel saying something crazy about how family needs to come together for one last big job before we're all done. And then it's going to slowly transition with the car revving up its engine. Then it's going to have some shitty action scenes where they fly to the moon with rocket ship propellers on their fucking car. And then the last clip, it shows like some heartfelt scene. And then like it cuts and says Fast X. You know, that's what the trailer is going to be. There you go. That's what the movie will be too. All right. The next one comes from a guy from Kings Highway. My girlfriend and I watch episodes of Siskel and Ebert on YouTube. It's nostalgic to us in a way. Even Roper and Ebert, which came after. You ever watch those? So yeah, as a kid, I would watch Roger Ebert. And the thing I hated about it was all their segments talking about movies were very short. It was so like, and I get it was on TV or network television, so you couldn't, do it in the format the way a YouTube video is, where people sit there and talk about a movie for 3 hours. But they were just so condensed and short, where I was like, And sometimes, Siskel, sometimes either of them would say opinions that I completely, like, even as a kid, completely feel like they missed the mark on. Other times they got it right. And it's so interesting to look back at some of their reviews for like phenomenal movies that we cherish and love. And they look back and they didn't like them at all. It's so intriguing to look back at it. But yeah, I remember watching them as kids. Maybe that's subconsciously why I started making YouTube videos to talk about movies. It could be. Guy from Kings Highway says, where do you think Kings Highway is? It's probably in the UK, and it's a highway system that went to one of the somewhere, and the king owned it, and it was a trade route. I don't know. Just a guess. But then again, didn't they call everything the King's Highway, which was like a route for soldiers? Even during the Revolutionary War, I want to say soldiers in redcoats would deem whatever path they had was the King's Highway. I could be wrong. I know I'm pretty good at history, but I could be wrong. Let me know if I'm right. Danny says Siskel and Ebert reviews feel like homewarm dealing. Oh, homewarm feeling. Yes, absolutely. They take me to my comfort place. Like, have you ever went back and rewatched America's Funniest Home Videos with Bob Saget? When was the last time you go back and watch some of those clips? It just takes you back to a simple time in life. I kind of miss it. I miss it so much. It was beauty. It was beautiful. Such a simple concept. And look what they did with that concept. Like, they took content that people recorded themselves, and now that's all social media is. It's just shit you record yourself, funny little clip memes of videos and people falling down. It's just like, we have not progressed as a society. We just gotten more of the same thing. Guy from King's Highway says, nah, King's Highway is in New York City, haha, but I like that. But also I feel like King's Highway was a term that's been used for centuries. I'm just going to put it out there. And if I'm wrong, don't ever correct me. Haha, no trailers. Back to my questions. This is my last message of this live stream. Do you have any moments that made you appreciate life lately? That made me appreciate life lately? No, sometimes when I'm just sitting there with my lady friend watching a good movie, I'm like, oh, I'm content. I'm having a good time. I'm enjoying what I'm doing. I'm in a house. It's like I have everything I need. I have more than I ever thought I would have as a kid. As a kid, I couldn't even imagine like having like a reclining leather sectional with a huge 4K TV and a Blu-ray player and so little things like that in life. When you're sitting there just watching a good movie around people that you like, that's all life is. That's the good stuff. That's all. I'm a simple guy. I can appreciate things like that. Just relaxing and enjoying something around people I like. Eating. And I'll tell you what makes it even better. What will make you appreciate life to its fullest. And I forgot how good these were. Oreo Thins. Yeah, I know. It's crazy. Hear me out for a second. If you guys are having a movie night anytime soon, go buy some Oreo Thins right now. They're the perfect consistency. They're not too much. They're condensed thin Oreos. So when you eat each one, you don't feel like a total fat ass, but they're thin. So you get the cookie, you get the frosting, but it's not too much. You're not overindulging. Now, sure, I eat an entire pack, but that's not the point. Each bite just feels so right. It's the right size. Those with a Diet Dr. Pepper, oh, God, I'm in heaven. All right, I hope that answered your question. The next one comes from Faisal H. Would you rather own a local theater or a local video store, and why? Well, gosh, is money an option? Is money an option here? Because a local video store is that's a bad business plan. It's done. We're done with that. Unfortunately, if it was 1985, I'd probably go with the video store. But it's not. So I have to go with the movie theater, which is the only business strategy which you can showcase films that aren't at home or have a home use to them. So I would go with the theater, but I would run my theater like how the Alamo Draft Houses ran. You talk, you text, you're out, right? No stupid little kids, no little babies, none of that shit. You watch the film, you enjoy it, it's immersive, it's pure escapism, and we give a shit about the presentation. That is what I would do. So I would run a theater. Now, if I had an unlimited budget, it would be a phenomenal theater. You walk into the lobby, you'd have like cool like movie props. You'd have like a replica DeLorean parked right in the middle of the lobby. You could take pictures with it. You'd have giant standees, a whole bunch of neon lights and spotlights flying around. If I had like the unlimited amounts of money and I could afford the rights, everyone that works at my theater would be dressed up like a movie character. You come into work, you're dressed like Beetlejuice, the Terminator, whatever, right? You go up to the concession stand, the kid is dressed like, I don't know, Hannibal Lecter. Maybe a bad example, but that's what would be at my theater. So if money's no option, I would definitely go the theater route. Oh, and in every auditorium, every movie you watch, there is an employee right at the door, making sure everything is working properly. It looks good. It's good to go. And so that's what I would do. And I think people would come to that. I'm just putting it out there. I know if I had to pay double the amount of a ticket price to a movie, but I knew I was going to get that experience where it's almost like going to Universal Studios to see a movie, that's something you could, like, everyone would want to go see that. Like, why would you not go to that theater? So I'm just putting it, that's what I would do. And AMC, if you're listening, that's what you need to do. Because charging people more for a better seat in your auditorium is not the answer. Someone just said, don't mess with Thin Mints. Ugh. Listen. If you want the taste of a Thin Mint, just go brush your teeth. No, thank you. Yeah. Are kids really not allowed at the Alamo Draft House? I don't know. I thought under a certain age they weren't. I could be wrong. Juice Boy 711, that's a great name, says, we love you, John. Please do streams every day. I don't think I have it in me to do streams every day. It's not that I don't think I could. And it's not that some days I don't feel like to make the commitment to say I'm going to do a stream every day. There's just some days where I don't have it to give. I really don't. Like, I just don't have the energy or the wittiness. And if I don't have those things, I don't want to waste your time. I will not waste your time. But when I'm on, I'm on. So rest assured, when you're looking at my face, you rest assured this is when I want to do this. So yeah, I would like to, I do need to concrete schedule some streams, though, at least one a week, like guaranteed Monday night live streams. You know, that's guaranteed every week. Everything else can be loosey-goosey, but I do need to get on a schedule with that. What would it be, like, maybe Wednesday? I think Wednesday would be a good day. No one's doing anything on Wednesdays, right? What do people do on a Wednesday? Nothing. Hello from Australia, John. Well, how's it going, Simon? John, are you optimistic about Indiana Jones 5? Slightly. It can't be worse than the previous. Someone said Frock AMC. Absolutely. John should bring back movie night videos. I will, man. I did a few of them. I did one for Halloween Ends. Like, I did it. I did one. John, did you know I'm utterly insane? Yes, I did. John, the better career, Harrison Ford or Clint Eastwood? I got Eastwood. Better movies overall. Eastwood was, but not really, because Harrison Ford, man, think about the iconic. They both played a lot of iconic roles, but Eastwood also went into directing and directed a handful of really good films. So I think they both have considerably great careers. I think the fan favorite might go with Harrison Ford, but I would say I'm almost hard pressed outside of like him playing Indiana Jones and Han Solo. Like, what other major characters did you love from Harrison Ford? So that would be a great question. I mean, some Clint Eastwood movies. I'm telling you guys this. I will be Clint Eastwood in Gran Torino one day. In about 30 years, I'm going to be Clint Eastwood in Gran Torino. I'm already getting that way. When I see people walking their dogs, like, we live on a corner, and when I see them getting close to my grass, I almost want to run out there. Like, get off my lawn. Yeah. Pick up the dog shit and put it in your pocket. 30 years from now, that'll be me. I promise you. Do you watch Red Letter Media? Yeah, occasionally I do. I used to watch them more often than I do now, but I like them. Good stuff. By the way, Flick Trip, new Flick Trip coming very soon, possibly this week. Some cool stuff. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but there will be a giveaway in the video because I like you guys. So look out for the new Flick Trip on this channel. Blade Runner and The Fugitive. Yeah, but The Fugitive, like, what is the character of The Fugitive? Like, you know? That's no Dirty Harry. What movie deserves a sequel? Master and Commander. That's what deserves a sequel. There you go. Nightcrawler deserves a sequel. Man of Steel deserved a sequel. But Gladiator is getting a sequel. Somehow, some way. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap up this live show in about 2 questions, so here we go. Juice Boy 711 says, Seven by Fincher is my favorite movie by him. What about you? Seven's great. Honestly, I would say Girl with the Dragon Tattoo might be my overall favorite from his, just because I like an immersive mystery movie. And not to say Seven definitely isn't those things, but just something about the location and Rooney Mara's character in that film I just love. I love how like smart she is, but weird and kooky, and like whatever social issue that she has. It definitely pushes the limits. It's unsettling. And Seven does the same thing, but man, Seven is, I think, a close second, but something about the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, every time I watch it, I like it more and more. And I go back to the first time I saw it in the theater back in 2011. It came out in December 2011, right? I remember going to the theater on a dark, cold, snowy night. It was completely empty. I saw the movie at like midnight. No one else was in the auditorium. And it was just like a really immersive time. I was like in love with the film. So that might be my favorite Fincher film. Faisal H says, have you ever applied for Rotten Tomatoes to be a certified critic? I haven't. I really haven't. I know you can only do it certain times of the year. I think one of them is March. I know I have all the qualifications to do it. I saw an application or someone talked to me about it. I just haven't done it, to be honest with you. And I don't know if I would keep up with posting quick little tidbits on there. I mean to say you're certified on Rotten Tomatoes, I guess is kind of cool to say, but at the core of it, I don't care. I don't think it really matters. But yeah, maybe this March I'll apply for it and see what happens. Juice Boy says, try to make a perfect movie by position, director, etc. A perfect movie? I don't know. I'd probably... I don't know. It's going to star Jake Gyllenhaal, Christian Bale, and it's going to be directed by Quentin Tarantino. That's the movie I want to see. Whatever that is, I don't... They're two guys who are hitmen, and I don't know what the plot is, but that's the movie. How's that? John, have you seen the Walk the Line by James Mangold? I have seen it. I liked it. I saw it once many, many years ago. John, American Psycho favorite lines. My favorite line from American Psycho is, I have to return some videotapes. And with all that said, I'm going to wrap up this live show and go, in fact, return some videotapes. That might be slightly a lie, but I am going to go watch something and relax with my thoughts. Maybe eat some Oreos, because all that Oreo talk got me excited. And by the way, guys, before I go, I forgot to mention these. I got sent these like a couple weeks ago. I got Cloverfield on 4K, which I've never loved Cloverfield. Now, this is directed by Matt Reeves. I know some people love this movie, and it's one of the better POV found footage type movies. I do agree with that. I like the artwork. I like the steelbook. It looks cool, but something about movies like found footage movies, I feel like they don't have much rewatchability. It's just like I kind of get nauseous looking at them. Like, I want some cinematography. I want a wide shot. I want to see people in the frame. I don't want it to look like my cousin picked up his phone and recorded the movie and the story. Like, segments of that would be cool in a normal movie, but to watch 90 minutes of it, So anyway, that's cool 4K steelbook, Cloverfield. And then I was sent this. It's the Jackie Chan movie collection. Now, this is from 1976 to 1982, Volume 1. So there's another volume of this shit coming. Now, listen, Jackie Chan is one of the most likable dudes on the planet. I love me some Jackie Chan. So this also contains a lot of movies I have never seen. You got The Killer Meteors. You have Shaolin Wooden Men. You have To Kill, Intrigue. You have... I can't even read it, so small. Snake and Crane, Art of Shaolin, Dragon Fist, Battle Creek Brawl. So I don't think I've seen. I think I've seen Dragon Fist. But I would like to take some gummies and watch some of these movies with a pal of mine, because he likes Jackie Chan even more than me. So I just think watching these would be a magical time. So anyway, the Jackie Chan collection, Volume 1. Are you guys picking this up? Have you seen it? I don't know much about it other than what I just told you, but they are on Blu-ray. So, hey, at least the picture quality will look pretty good. So anyway, I'm gonna savor this flavor for maybe next week. So either way, guys, I'm gonna wrap up this live show here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thanks for the questions once again. We'll do another one of these sooner than we have since the last time. I promise you that. And I still have a few videos coming out this week, so just gotta edit them. Find the time to do that. As always, have a good night. Stay safe, guys. And once again, thanks for hanging out to look at my stupid face for a couple of hours. I appreciate it. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye.